the little prince's name, we shall see.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, today is National Pretzel Day. We have soft pretzels here from the Philly Pretzel Factory.
The Philly Pretzel Factory.
Yes, for providing them to us.
Yeah.
You guys a soft pretzel fan?
Do you find you get more friends when you have food on?
Yeah.
We stay a little bit later.
We don't normally have friends.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the pretzel and the Philly Pretzel Factory. Thank you so much. But why are we celebrating a pretzel?
It's National Pretzel Day. Wouldn't it be better if it was?
Can we have some dark chocolate? We just did a story about that.
pretzels.
I mean, it's a pretzel.
All right, you want dark chocolate tomorrow?
I'd like, pizza, something, that's a little bit more. The donuts at 4 a.m. look pretty good.
Or a pretzel stuffed with cheese. Have you ever had that before?
Give me something. I mean, this is just like a big
I don't even know if that exists. I may have just made that up, but isn't that a good idea?
What he meant to say was thank you for the pretzel.
I mean, if I don't complain, nobody's going to know what show this is. You have to understand that. Yeah, exactly.
All right, we gotta go. But seriously, thank you, Philly Pretzel Factory, for the pretzels on this National Pretzel Day. Have a
The
great day,
president on
everyone.
Fox and Friends, and it starts right now. See you later.
Sources claiming that fired FBI Director James Comey may have now, in fact, leaked his private memos to multiple individuals.
I see no credible claim by any serious person that violated the law.
I think Mr. Comey's troubles in his 15 pages of memorandums, which were a rather lengthy suicide note, is committing suicide publicly every day.
Mike Pompeo primed to take over as Secretary of State. The crucial vote happening today as the White House issues a stern warning to obstructionist Democrats.
We'll be confirming if we have the vote.
The urgent hunt for a cop killer expanding nationwide this morning. This man wanted for gunning down a sheriff's deputy and then stealing his cruiser.
Rapper Kanye West did something kind of amazing on Twitter to appear to articulate his support for President Trump. You don't have to agree with Trump, but the mob cannot make me not love him.
The one thing that we will celebrate is our right to think differently. I don't understand what's so controversial for the left to understand this.
Is that the music they're listening to at the White House right now?
Probably they are this week at least.
It's Kanye West. Flashing lights. The light is flashing on the camera. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Fox and Friends. This is a show unlike any we've ever done before because we have never had a sitting president of the United States phone us. At 8 o'clock, the president, Donald Trump, is going to do what he used to do back in the day when he used to call us every Monday morning at 7 o'clock. Only this time, it's going to be on Thursday at 8 a.m.
Well, I wonder, does he know the number? It's the same number that he used to have.
888 tell Fox.
Yeah, 888 No, we give him a hotline, don't we?
What is that number?
Right.
Just in case he forgot.
Just shout it down.
The folks at home.
But no, we give him a special number. But maybe if this goes well, and it probably will, maybe he could do this we'll try to find a slot with him every Thursday.
I don't know.
Maybe.
We're kind of busy. It is National Pretzel Day, after all.
That's true. You know what? I take that back. We'll see what we can do.
That's right. So if you have a question.
There's so much to ask him. Yeah, if you have any questions. Sorry, Dennis.
Yeah, we're out of them.
Absolutely.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, if you have any questions, send them in. friends@foxnews.com, and we'll ask him some of those. There's so much to talk to him about. We played Kanye. There's more news about Kanye. We'll get to that in just a minute. But first, we want to tell you about James Comey and those famous memos. We are getting word now through Catherine Herridge, our intelligence correspondent down in Washington, that there might have been more people that he shared those memos with, more leaking, more individuals.
Yeah, in fact, one of them is Patrick Fitzgerald. He is now the lawyer for James Comey because he needs a lawyer because of those memos. And there might be a third individual besides Daniel Richman, the Columbia professor, who we find out now was working for free for the FBI, perhaps, with a top security clearance. This is getting ridiculous in terms of what we didn't know before this book came out.
So he is on this book tour. Apparently, he's sold 600,000 of those books, and that's a big number. And I think that he went over to CNN yesterday to do the town hall with Anderson Cooper, and he thought it was going to be really easy. But Anderson Cooper actually was very good at trying to pin him down about leaking this memos. Anderson thinks he leaked memos. We think he leaked memos. Mr. Comey, not so much. Listen.
You did leak memos. I mean, is it okay for somebody at the FBI to leak something, an internal document, even if it's not classified? Isn't that leaking?
Well, there's a whole lot wrong with your question, Anderson. First, I didn't leak memos. I asked a friend to communicate the substance of one unclassified memo. I intentionally gave this information to a friend, intending that it be out in the media. I wanted it to get out in the media.
Right.
As a private citizen, I could do that and did that, just as I've written about it in my book.
But he followed up by saying, yeah, private citizen with documents that you wrote when you were the FBI director. There's a difference. And because he said, I clarify, he said, and I'll just paraphrase, I look at leaks at stuff that were, classified that go out into the open. That's a leak. As opposed to telling information to the press, not using your name, that come out. His definition of a leak, I think, is where Bret Baier will pick up the ball tonight when he speaks to him
Bret's
one-on-one.
interviewing him today.
Right. I just thought that was most of the town hall were layups. Young people saying how bad the President Trump is and how great you are. But Anderson Cooper did a good job with follow-ups.
Well, here's the thing. When Mr. Comey says, yeah, I just gave that to my friend, as we told you yesterday, Catherine Herridge's other information was that the friend actually was an FBI employee. Dr. Daniel Richman, Mr. Comey gave him special government employee status, SGE, where he had security clearance, he had a building pass. So this was not just a friend. This was somebody that he knew he could trust to leak that information to the big papers.
Sounds like he was making it, he was cushioning it so that he wouldn't get in trouble. This guy's an attorney. It could be the client attorney privilege. This guy, James Comey, gave him FBI special government employee status. He is also a friend. So we'll see where this goes. Meanwhile, Rudy Giuliani, who is the president's new attorney appointed last week, he goes in front of Robert Mueller. He goes down to Washington. They have a meeting face-to-face to start negotiating. Because as you know, Robert Mueller is investigating if there was collusion with the president and with Russia. And they're trying to negotiate because Mueller really wants to sit down with our president and says, I can't end this investigation until I sit down with him. And Rudy says, President might do it. He's hesitant. He might do it, though.
But here's the big change. Before the raid, it seems, on Michael Cohen, who was the president's personal attorney for years, on 4 different locations in which he worked and somewhere he lived, the president was saying, I want to sit down, but John Dowd doesn't want me to. John Dowd resigns because, reportedly, because the president and he disagree on a bunch of things, mainly that. Now, this time, it looks as though after that raid, the president has a different approach to it. I'm not cooperating with this guy. So Rudy Giuliani, who says he's known Robert Mueller for decades, sat down. Some characterize it as a feeling out period, a feeling out session.
Absolutely, just to see what Mr. Mueller had in mind, and Mr. Giuliani wanted to tell him what he had in mind. Keep in mind, as well, when Rudy was going down to Washington the first time, New York Post caught up with him, and Rudy said, I think I can get this Russia thing wrapped up in a week or two. So are we any closer? Stay tuned. Meanwhile, if you were online yesterday, if you were looking at your Twitter account, and I know a lot of you don't, so you probably saw it on other media, Kanye West officially melted the internet when we were telling you the day before, he was talking to a friend who was one of the DJs at Hot 97 here in New York. And the DJ went on the air and said, Kanye really loves the president of the United States. And yesterday, he doubled down via Twitter.
He said, you don't have to agree with Trump, but the mob can't make me not love him. We are both dragon energy. He is my brother. I love everyone. I don't agree with everything anyone does. That's what makes us individuals, and we have the right to independent thought.
What is dragon energy mean exactly?
They have fire in their belly.
I thought I think it's different than the 5-hour energy that so many of us take in the morning. But Kanye West goes ahead and tweets out saying, listen, I don't agree with everything he does, but I like the guy. Well, you remember when Steve Harvey came out and said something similar, didn't tweet it, says, I met with the president, he's a powerful guy, I wanted to be nice to know what he's thinking, I want to tell him what I was thinking, we respect each other. He got blown out of the...
Look at Shania Twain this week. She was asked with her upcoming album, if you could have voted in the American election last time, would you? And she said yes. And then she got so much blowback, she caved. Kanye did not cave. In fact, then he tweeted out a picture of his Make America Great Again hat, which was signed by the president. He also tweeted out another picture, and look at all those fire emojis. He also tweeted out a picture of him wearing the hat with a couple of music execs. And then the president of the United States retweeted it and said, thank you, Kanye. Very cool.
Right. So this was back and forth at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. Kim Kardashian went to bat for her husband, who, by the way, she doesn't agree with necessarily when it comes to President Trump. Said, quote, he's a free thinker. That not allowed in America? Question mark. That's exactly the thought you think of when you see some of these celebrities step up that go against the grain. The blowback they get, there are people around them say, listen, commercially, we can't afford for you to come out and say what you think about the president if it's indeed popular. Chance the Rapper, I'm not pretending I know the rap community as well as Stephen Ainsley, but evidently famous, right? Black people don't have to be Democrats, which is the point that Stephen A. Smith said about 2 years ago to a college audience.
I think this is great.
Make people earn your vote.
I think it's great because we can all have different opinions, just like Kanye says, and that is what makes America wonderful. You don't have to agree with everyone, but you don't have to hate someone just because they think differently, and that's where the society has taken us. Look at Shania. She answered the question. She made the president's supporters happy with that. Then she says, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I hadn't answered the question. So now she makes his supporters mad. So now everyone's mad at her.
Right.
Jason Whitlock. It used to be okay to give your point of view and not worry about it.
And still be liked.
I know it. Jason Whitlock from Fox Sports 1 had this observation about what went on yesterday betwixt Kanye and POTUS.
I think he's probably trying to inspire African Americans to have a more open mind about politics and to be less demonizing of people we disagree with. We're all flawed. Our president is flawed, but that doesn't mean it's an effective strategy to write that person off or to write that side of politics off. There's no competition for the black vote right now. And there has been none for 50 or 60 years. I think we should look around at other ethnic groups and other groups of people. They make people compete for their votes, and politics tend to help them and move them forward while we're not experiencing the same thing.
A lot of it's Republicans' fault because the Republicans don't try. They say, we're not going to do that, or that's an urban community. We're going to lose that city. We're going to lose that county. And I never understood why they feel that way. Go in there, find out what the African-American vote needs, find out what their concerns are. And it's, by the way, it's hard to blanket. Everyone's different. Everyone has different opinions. But Republicans don't even put it on their target list. And that, by the way, it starts with them.
Well, but when Donald Trump was running for president, he was very interested in that demographic and talked about how they had been so poorly served in the past. So anyway, we're going to talk to the president about Kanye and include some of your questions as well on this busy Thursday television.
But the president should serve them. He should offer those programs out there because he promised to do it. The unemployment numbers are down. They're trending the right way. But let's see the programs, and then it'll be game on in Election Day.
All right, let's hand it over to Jill. You know, has some headlines for us.
Good morning. That's right. Good morning to you. Let's start with a Fox News alert right now. A nationwide manhunt for the man who gunned down a sheriff's deputy in cold blood. Police say John Williams killed Corporal Eugene Cole in Norridge Walk, Maine, and stole his cop car.
Many times we're able to say that there is not an ongoing threat, but that's not the case today. There certainly is an ongoing public threat. He needs to be, he's considered armed and dangerous.
Cole was a 13-year veteran of the department. He leaves behind a son, also a sheriff's deputy. Cole's murder comes one day after 2 Dallas officers were shot. One of them, Officer Rogelio Santander, was killed. The White House is prepared for anything following a meeting between President Trump and his pick to lead the VA. According to reports, Admiral Ronnie Jackson did not discuss withdrawing his nomination, but did say he was frustrated with unverified allegations against him. The White House is standing by Jackson.
Dr. Jackson's record as a White House physician has been impeccable. In fact, because Dr. Jackson has worked with an arm's reach of 3 presidents, he has received more vetting than most nominees. Very thorough investigation and vetting process has taken place.
Jackson is facing allegations of being abusive, drunkenly crashing a car, and over-prescribing drugs. President Trump's personal lawyer will plead the Fifth in the Stormy Daniels case. In a court filing, Michael Cohen says he will use that right to avoid self-incrimination against allegations he paid hush money to the adult film star. It follows an FBI raid where investigators reportedly seized information about a $130 payment to Daniels. $130,000 payment, I believe that was. President Trump denies the affair and knowing about the payment. That's a look at your headlines. I'll send it to you.
All right, Jillian, thank you very much. All right, coming up on our show, a former Hillary Clinton staffer is sending a warning to her fellow liberals why she says they need to stop being such jerks.
And this mailman is delivering a lot more than just letters. He shows off his moves. Straight ahead.
That's right.
The Ring doorbell.
In a new Wall Street Journal op-ed, a former Hillary Clinton staff member writes, "A warning to my fellow liberals. From one liberal to another, can we stop the ideological purity test and admit that there are more ways than one of solving a problem? Can we please stop being such jerks?" That former Clinton staff member, Anafi Wahed, also is the founder of Flipside.io and joins us now live. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're calling your friends jerks. What are they doing?
I really am. I think I won't say all, but most of my liberal friends are very well-intentioned, but their comments are so arrogant, so elitist, and it's a symptom of a much larger problem. The media bubbles and the echo chambers are so persistent that they don't know how to engage constructively with ideas that are not their own.
Yeah, right. You write that, 63 million Americans voted for Donald Trump. They can't all be nincompoops.
Exactly. And it's incredibly arrogant of liberals to think that all 63 million were duped or are sexist or racist or xenophobic or, enter some other negative connotation, right?
I know. What kind of blowback have you gotten from your friends after you wrote this?
It's really interesting. There have been plenty of comments, and one friend actually texted me yesterday to say, hey, I do have some critiques, but I understand if you're overwhelmed by the negativity.
Right.
And I really appreciated that. The premise of the flip side is surprisingly simple. We provide readers with a daily 5-minute digest of what both sides are saying. I can't believe it's at all controversial, let alone invoking such strong reactions.
Look at that. You're interested in both sides, like Kanye West. And look at what he's taken.
Yes. We actually wrote about Kanye West this morning, and it was fascinating. He didn't even express his political views. He just expressed that he likes the president. And if he's being, bashed by so many people for just saying he likes a person, what does that tell us about where we are as a society?
Well, what does that tell you about the not so tolerant left? Your side.
I will say our side does not do a good job of reaching out to others, of admitting that there may be more than one way of looking at a problem. And that's what my op-ed is about. I'm really worried about 2018. We thought Hillary Clinton would win in 2016. Right. And right now we're expecting a blue wave. But
you're not so sure.
I'm not so sure. I'm really not.
You know what's interesting about your Wall Street Journal editorial is the fact that you submitted it to the New York Times and the Washington Post before, and they rejected it?
Yes,
they did.
They did not pick it up. And I was sorely disappointed because I was really hoping that it would be read by liberals. So for me, it was, the New York Times, the Washington Post, those are my liberal friends' favorites. So I would have loved to have it in there. But of course, the Wall Street Journal, is an amazing publication. I was happy that, I'm so lucky that they accepted it.
Well, interesting words. We thank you very much. Anafi Wahed, we thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. All right, 6:20 in New York City. Public schools sparking outrage for displaying an anti-Republican, anti-NRA sign. Our next guest says students, including her son, are being used as pawns.
Glad you're up. Hope you're dressed. Here's what's happening in the news. North Korea's main nuclear test site may have collapsed. A Chinese geological study shows the mountain above the site, right over there, crumbled under the stress of explosions. The findings follow an announcement by Kim Jong-un that he'd paused nuclear weapons testing in that area. It's only 60 miles from the Chinese border. Meanwhile, overnight, an intercontinental ballistic missile successfully test launched from the California coast. There you're seeing it. The Air Force trying out the readiness and accuracy of the weapon system. I'll talk about that more while Ainsley talks about this. Hey, Ainsley.
Hey, Brian. Thank you so much. Well, a public school in Philadelphia sparking outrage for displaying anti-NRA and anti-GOP signs. Look how big they are. Our next guest planned to send her son to that school. It's an elementary school, but she says not anymore. Joining us now is Erin Elmore. She's a Republican strategist. She probably looks familiar. She was a surrogate for President Trump. We had her on during the campaign. She's also an NRA member. Thank you so much, Erin, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So you live close to this school. You take your child to go play on the playground. He's 5 years old, not able to go to the school yet, but this is where you're zoned for. Your taxes go here. And what did you see on the door?
I saw walking by one day several signs that said GOP, no more BS, guns suck, bad things about the NRA, a sign that says nope is dope, which is allegedly some sort of television reference that no one in the school is even old enough to watch, but it's also drug slang. So this school is saying things like suck and BS, which stands for bull you know what, and dope. These are the things they're teaching our
in
children.
Elementary school, and they're huge signs.
Huge.
Okay, so you call the school, you walk into the school, what happened?
I send the school a letter, a right to know request, which is any citizen's right in any school district. I challenge everyone in America. You don't have to be a fancy lawyer. Just file a right to know request. You want to know, when were these signs made? What resources were used? Did you consult with any outside political groups? Did you throw
and what was
a
their
school
response?
email?
What'd they say?
Radio silence on that, but I believe you might have a response from them.
Well, they sent us a statement because we did call. They said, we support students' rights to self-expression as long as that expression does not disrupt an orderly school environment, and these signs are not in violation of School District of Philadelphia policy. What's your response?
They only represent one point of view. So these are actually divisive signs. Our president, as a member of the GOP, he won the election. This is simply divisive. Also, the Philadelphia School District has only a 70% graduation rate, 10% below national average. Doesn't the school have an obligation to teach our children how to read, how to do math, science? Instead, they're posting things that are just divisive. The schools are supposed to be safe places.
Was this an assignment? Was this like the older kids in the school, the fifth graders, were they assigned to make these posters?
We don't know yet, but all I know is children as young as 5 go to this school. They are being used as political pawns.
Well, plus,
and
it looks
scary.
Messy. Look at that. That doesn't even look nice. If you're a
doesn't look nice.
taxpayer, I even take away what the signs say. That looks really junky and messy, in my opinion. So what do you think Republicans, conservatives that live in that area, they're upset because they don't like this message? Are they allowed to make posters and put them up there too?
Well, under the Constitution, if a student wants to express an alternative point of view, they have to be able to. So although the statement says they're not in violation of school policy, there's a lot of things that remain to be seen. They might be violating the Constitution. They might have violated other laws that don't allow you to contribute to political parties during school time. So this all remains to be seen.
Your money goes there, but your son will not go there, you say, right?
That's right, Ainsley.
All right. Thank you, Aaron, for being with us.
Thank you.
James Comey says he is not a leaker.
I didn't leak memos. I intentionally gave this information to a friend, intending that it be out in the media.
But that friend also worked for the FBI. Is Comey trying to hide behind attorney-client privilege? Judge Napolitano on the case coming up. And do you support President Trump? That can get you kicked out of a bar, apparently. A judge says that's legal. But first, happy birthday to the First Lady, Melania Trump. Happy birthday to you.
Pictured at this with the University of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Why would that be?
Well, why is Neil Diamond singing about Sweet Caroline?
Bum, bum, bum. When that would play at the University of South Carolina, of course, the crowd would go crazy. Everyone in the bar or at the stadium would go bum, bum, bum.
And now it's time for a road trip.
That's right. I am flying out after the show today. I'm going to head down to South Carolina, turn some stories there today that you'll see tomorrow morning. We're going to interview Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott, Congressman Trey Gowdy. We're going to interview some of the students, my family, the co-anchor that I worked with down there.
Awesome.
So it's going to be fun. I think we're going to highlight some of our schools and start doing some of these road
Wait
trips.
a second.
Summer's right
Are we
around the
going to
corner.
get to see the actual dorm room as if people can live in it now?
That's a good idea.
Have they retired that room and just said
I don't
Ainsley
know.
Earhart?
That's a great idea.
I think we got to go back. Don't you think that would happen, Jillian? I mean, the thing is, no one could live in
The funny
Ainsley
thing is,
Earhart's
so
room.
they asked me to send pictures of my experience at USC, and I sent them, and you'll see some of these tomorrow. I did find one in my dorm room, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was decorated so nicely. I was like, this is so junky.
Do you remember the dorm room number? Exactly.
I don't.
Because I remember I lived in 515 Ellsworth Hall at the University of Kansas.
Wow.
So one day I'll go back.
Wow.
Can I take a look?
Wow.
Where's that little refrigerator?
I would like to do that with the house I grew up in Spartanburg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll be in South Carolina, seeing my
She's
family
going
too.
home.
And I have a book signing tomorrow night in Spartanburg, or in the Spartanburg area, and then one on Saturday in Columbia.
Wow, that's going to be huge.
Thank
that'll
you.
be
I have it all on my Twitter page. So.
All right. Terrific. That
Thanks,
brand new
y'all.
book came out this week. It's called The Light Within Me. Meanwhile, it's time for some news at 27 minutes before the top of the hour. Jillian?
I can't wait to see all of this. That's going to be exciting.
I don't want to go first. Well, I'm not going first. I want to see yours.
Oh, come on. No, mine's not exciting. All right, let's get you caught up on some of the headlines we're following. The suspected Golden State Killer now behind bars after decades on the loose. Police arresting 72-year-old former cop Joseph James D'Angelo. He's accused of murdering at least 12 people and raping dozens in the 70s and 80s. But he wasn't a suspect until just 6 days ago when police made a major break using DNA.
We all knew as part of this team that we were looking for a needle in a haystack. But we also all knew that the needle was there.
A new book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, renewed interest in the case this year. D'Angelo is being held on suspicion of at least 4 homicides. Tomorrow, a cold-blooded cop killer will walk free. Herman Bell's release comes after a last-ditch effort by the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association to block his parole failed. But next month, a panel of judges will hear a motion to put Bell back in a New York State prison. NYPD officers Joe Piagentini and Waverly Jones were lured and ambushed by Bell and 2 others in 1971. Supporting the president could get you thrown out of a bar in New York City. How about this? A judge ruling against a man who claims he was kicked out of a place called The Happiest Hour for wearing a Make America Great Again hat. He sued the bar, claiming it offended his sense of being an American. The court ruling only religious, not political beliefs are protected under discrimination laws. Delivering the mail and some pretty sweet moves all at once. Take a look. This Texas mailman caught dancing on a home security camera. Gary Shirley's surprise routine now has almost 2,000 views online. The homeowner posting the video online writing, and people wonder why we love our mailman.
Right.
That is great.
That is first class.
Look at this move. That's the best
He's
one.
having
That's
so
like
much
the Elaine.
fun.
Well, you know, he knows what a Ring doorbell looks like, and he knows that the homeowner winds up with the notification. So he's doing a live telecast.
But here's the other
How many
thing.
other houses does he do that at?
It's hard enough to dance, but you're alone with a sack of letters over your
Right,
shoulder.
right.
I mean, that takes tremendous balance. You would think a backpack, you could dance.
I think you should
normally.
demonstrate it. Can we get a sack? Can we get a man bag for Brian, and he's going to do it in the
No, I've
right
got.
after the break.
I haven't made a formal announcement, but I've left the man bag and I've gone backpack.
Oh,
I should have made it
Do you
formal.
do one strap like a cool guy?
No, I
or
go
do you
both
do
ways.
2? Okay.
Yeah, I go on both
You
shoulders.
do?
Yeah. Both shoulders.
You're strapped in.
Because I might as well have a man bag if you only go on one shoulder.
All right.
I don't want to think about balancing it.
I have no idea what any of that means. Meanwhile, today we've got the president and we've got pretzels.
Oh my gosh, it's National Pretzel Day. The president's coming. You know what? My kids are coming on as well for Take Your Kids to Work Day, and pretzels are their favorite. So I'm so excited about that. National Pretzel Day today. Joining us with a lesson you don't want to miss is Philly Pretzel Factory CEO Dan Dizio. Dan, tell us about Philly Pretzel Factory.
Well, started about 20 years ago. This is our 20-year anniversary next week on May 2nd. And today is National Pretzel Day, and what we do is we give away free pretzels at all of our locations. We're in 19 states, and we have 175 locations open, and every one of them, there's no gimmicks. You walk in and get a free pretzel.
That is fabulous. Tell me what you like to dip the pretzel in.
I like cream cheese. I'm a Philadelphia guy, so Philly pretzel with a Philadelphia cream cheese. Regular cheese is my kid's favorite, though. The normal melted cheese is my favorite.
And the truck is here, so you'll have pretzels for my kids when they come?
Yes, all day. We're going to have pretzels. Hot pretzels out of the oven, yes.
Listen, you're going to tell me about how you make your pretzels with the Philly Pretzel Factory. Come on.
So
show me.
Yeah, here's the dough. So this is a string. We normally have a pretzel machine that makes this rope for us.
Okay.
And it comes out like this, and we hand twist every pretzel.
Right.
And what you do, you want to grab each end of it, the
Okay.
tips of it.
Yep.
Just the very tips.
Yep.
A little flip.
What?
A little flip, just like that.
Okay.
A little flip, and then all you have to do is tuck it
Tuck
in
it?
it, and it's there. You got to do the flip one more time.
Well, that's my pretzel.
That's your
What
pretzel.
do you think? And this is very, I mean, do people come in and order it like this?
Yes, so we sell individual pretzels, but most people come in and buy 20, 30, 50 pretzels, from PTO moms to school teachers to salespeople bringing pretzels to people. So we sell a lot of pretzels at our individual location, and they're all connected.
Eat it like this?
Any way you want. That's what's beautiful about it.
I love National Pretzel Day! All right, thank you so much, Dan.
Well, thank you.
Delicious.
And if you're the first 100 customers to come to each store this morning, they get a free card. And with that card, they get a free pretzel every day in the whole month of May if you're the first 100 customers at our stores.
Dan, we love you. We love National Pretzel Day. Back inside. I'll bring these in for you guys.
It's a lot of carbs.
That's okay. They're delicious. All right. Thank you very much, JD. Meanwhile, switching gears, Adam Sandler and Chris Rock back together again.
The comedy powerhouse starring in Adam Sandler's fourth Netflix movie, The Week Of.
And you can stream the movie starting tomorrow. So let's step into the Fox light with our Senior VP of Marketing, Michael Tamara, who sat down with these stars and gives us an exclusive first look.
I'm
sure that was entertaining.
That was a great, what a way to spend the morning. It was the sixth time they've teamed up together. I caught up with them yesterday morning, and they told me all about this very funny movie, guys.
Every father looks forward to making a wedding for their little girl. I have been able to help my kids their entire lives.
Whatever happens, everyone loves you.
I'll be able to figure this one out.
Love this movie. I had like the best day at work yesterday watching it. I felt a little guilty.
You sound like a New York boy.
Long Island.
Yeah.
Another reason to like this movie.
That's right, pal. We gave you the island.
What made you sort of want to bring it out to the island?
It felt good, like a real man out there who loves his family, trying to put it together, and then the old L.A. connection comes back and tries to bring his hoity-toity attitude. Hollywood showing up with the white suit.
Got a big one, Dr. C. Another day, another life.
Hello.
Father of the groom. You got a sec?
Yeah. What is it about weddings and families? This is so rich for material. I mean, I felt like I saw my in-laws.
It just automatically there's a lot of good conversations at every wedding and that's what basically the movie is, the week of the wedding and everybody hanging out and fighting and bickering and trying to get along.
What do you hope that people take away when they see this?
Just hope they, this goes in their pantheon of family movies. You guys get it together.
Okay, yeah. Let's give me one more try.
Okay, so the week of means what?
The week leading into his daughter's wedding and all the drama that ensues in comedy. So not only has Adam Sandler grossed about $3 billion at the box office throughout his career, his movies are the most downloaded on Netflix.
Really? He's so funny.
And when you watch this, you see why. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's not political. It's just a break from everything.
Yeah.
What is it going to say to you, because you know this industry so well, that he goes to Netflix?
It's where it's all going.
That is huge, right? They just wrote him a check and said, come up with whatever you want.
This is the fourth movie in his first 4-movie deal. They just signed him on for another 4. And it's where the industry is going.
It's the future.
He is the first one to do this, and you're going to see a lot more.
So when can
of
we
it.
watch it?
Starting tomorrow.
Okay.
On
It
Netflix.
drops on Netflix.
Anytime you want.
Anytime you want. It's the beauty of it.
I got a feeling it's going to be right there on the front page.
Right after watching Fox and Friends.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Meanwhile, remember this moment from when Mark Zuckerberg testified on Capitol Hill.
You recognize these folks?
I do.
Who are they?
I believe, is that Diamond and Silk?
That is Diamond and Silk.
For 300.
Yep. And today it's Diamond and Silk's turn on Capitol Hill. But before they head up to the Hill, they're going to join us live from D.C. in the next hour.
Plus, the fate of President Trump's travel ban is now in the hands of the Supreme Court. The judge has an idea of what they should rule. He's very close. He walked up the stairs. He's about to approach the couch.
Hey,
All right, former FBI Director James Comey doubling down against allegations of leaking sensitive memos to the media.
I didn't leak memos. I asked a friend to communicate the substance of one unclassified memo. I intentionally gave this information to a friend, intending that it be out in the media. I wanted it to get out in the media.
Right.
As a private citizen, I could do that.
This, as the professor that you see there, Daniel Richman, confirms he worked as a special government employee for the FBI. So is this an attorney-client privilege? Here with more, Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. Looks like Comey is covering his tail.
Well, this is not the attorney-client privilege. He's not claiming that Professor Richman, who's
was his attorney?
Former Justice Department official when Jim Comey ran the prosecutor's office here in Manhattan, is his attorney. He's saying he had a security clearance sufficient to allow him to lawfully receive the contents of these memos. This may not be too popular here, but I thought Comey was pretty compelling last night with Anderson Cooper. I think
was his argument solid?
I think Brett Baer's going to ask him some more challenging questions in an entirely different format.
But Judge, he was saying that it's not a leak if it's not classified. That's not right.
Well,
it's not a criminal leak.
He has a very narrow definition of leak, but not all leaks are criminal. That's what I think he was talking about. If it's not classified, it's not criminal. And at the time this occurred, by this I mean Professor Richman reading to selected members of the media selected non-classified portions of one of the memos. Jim Comey was a private citizen, so he
covered himself.
Talk about it. Yes, I thought he covered himself.
But he didn't know that memo.
But legally, he did cover himself because the guy had security clearance, so that's why he got it.
Yes.
So he's not leaking a memo. Then the guy turns around and tells the press stuff that is not confidential.
Correct. Now, I jumped the gun here the other day, not knowing that Professor Richman had a security clearance. And one of you, I think, said to me, did Jim Comey break the law? And I said, it appears he did. I since have apologized. It now appears he did not.
Well, you had no idea.
No, right. We didn't know about the professor having the clearance, which is why, as a judge, I ought to have known. You got to get all the facts before you form a judgment.
He didn't, so many people have said that was not his property. It was the property of the FBI that he leaked or did not leak.
That's for the Inspector General to find out. But if that is the case, at the most, it's a violation of DOJ regulations. It is not a crime.
But it's a leak.
In memos that he gives to his
friend. But the FBI leaks all the time.
That's Washington.
The Justice Department leaks all the time.
That doesn't mean it's right. The memos that we all read the memos, there were so many redactions, black ink all over it. Did he hand it to the professor with those redactions?
I doubt it.
So the professor, because he has clearance, anyone at the FBI can read classified information?
Anyone who has that level of clearance can. Not all agents have that level of clearance because their jobs don't require it.
Right. All right. Real quick, on the travel ban, what do we know now? It looks like by looking at the arguments with your discernible eye, it looks like the president's going to get his ban up.
I listened to the argument, I listened to the tone of voice, and I read the transcript. I can rarely feel comfortable predicting an outcome. I'm very comfortable predicting 5-4 upholding the president on the theory that he has this authority. Whether he exercised it wisely is not for the court to decide.
I hope we tape this show because I like to play it back. I'm not sure we're taping it. All right, good job, Judge.
Tells me
5-4.
5-4.
Kreskin over here. All right, thanks. All right, 11 minutes before the top of the hour. Late night hosts losing their mind over President Trump and Kanye West's newfound friendship.
Kanye West tweeted that he and Trump are brothers and, quote, are both Dragon Energy. Trump just made Kanye the new Secretary of Dragon Energy.
Just like that, Kanye West became our new Secretary of State.
Now another famous rapper is coming to the president's defense. That is just ahead.
And these veterans helped rebuild Houston after the devastation of Hurricane Harvey, and now they're being honored for their service. Their stories next.
Just for one day.
Team Rubicon CEO Jake Wood is here. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for the work that you do.
Of course.
And tell us, first of all, how you got involved.
Yeah, so we started Team Rubicon about 8 years ago, actually, after the Haiti earthquake. I had served 4 years in the Marine Corps, got back, was getting out, and when the earthquake happened, I looked at that situation and thought, that's what the Marine Corps trained me to do, work in tough situations. And so we went down there, and over the last 8 years, we've built up an organization that's brought in about 80,000 volunteers across the country, responding to 250 disasters around the world.
So 250 disasters around the world. You hope to do 40 rebuilds this year, rebuilding people's lives and homes, 100 by 2020. When people join your organization, they don't necessarily know each other. The only common denominator is they're in the military, right?
Exactly. And so they have that brotherhood, that sisterhood from their time in service. And these are people that are representative of the best of America. They have service in their blood. They want to help communities on their worst day, and we're just giving them the avenue to do that.
And, firemen, too.
Yes.
A lot of firemen, after they saw our piece in Houston, when I joined you in Houston after Hurricane Harvey, some of my husband's friends, my husband is a firefighter, called me and said, we want to join.
Exactly. And so, what's great is the police, the fire, they bring kind of that real world civilian emergency management experience. And, we combine that. And there's so many firefighters that were former military as well. So it's a great community.
What's going to take place at the gala tonight? And in terms of fundraising, what do you expect to do?
Yeah, so our gala tonight, we call it the Salute to Service, and that's really what it is. How do we celebrate these stories of our volunteers? We're going to be raising money. We're bringing in one of our fellows who's a New Jersey native. She joined the Army to escape the streets of Newark, and after the Army, she found herself in Houston with Team Rubicon, continuing to serve, rebuilding that community. So Tiara will speak tonight. We're really excited to have her.
What do you expect from Janice tonight? Because she's going to be hosting, I want to make sure she's ready.
We're bringing her in as eye candy. Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh, that's why we had this segment.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Jake. You know what? Just tell us how important it is for these military and people to serve their country after their service.
I think service, what our belief is that as a military man or woman is transitioning out of the military, they need to replace that sense of purpose that the military gave them. They've been serving their country. It's a part of their DNA. And I think if we only focus on things like jobs and healthcare and housing, that we're missing something. And that purpose in that community is really important.
Thank you for coming. I can't wait to be with you guys tonight. And happy birthday, Jake. It's his birthday today.
All right, happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're awesome. I hope I can come this year as well.
All right, we're going to get you out there.
Yes, Team Rubicon.
Get her ready early. She's got to be up early Friday, okay?
Might be a late night tonight.
Okay, Jake, good job. Thank you. Meanwhile, coming up straight ahead, what does Congressman Jordan think about President Donald J. Trump? And our exclusive interview that's coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll discuss all those things because he's going to be on our show without a jacket on, and his tie will be open.